Seahawks news and rumors coming at you here. And what we're going to talk about is a little bit of an old report about Seattle wanting to go out and add a wide receiver 3. Originally, we did cover this on our Seahawks channel, and when we talked about it, we're like, all right, maybe they don't have to go out and do it. But Seattle lost David Moore. Then they wanted to go out and try to replace him. I thought they already did that by going out and getting tight end Gerald Everett. However, if you're telling me right now that there's some pretty talented receivers out there on the market that could be traded, if you're Seattle and you're not listening, I think you're crazy. As it stands right now, you got DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett. That might be the best wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 combo in the entire league. No disrespect to Eskridge and Swain, there's a little bit of a drop-off there. So if you want to really make sure you get that wide receiver 3, I got some players here to really think about. But before we get into them, 1 for yes, or I want you to type 0 for no. Does Seattle need to trade for a wide receiver? Do you think that they're like, man, they really need to? And I'll tell you what, the Cardinals, the Rams, the 49ers, those are really, really tough teams. And a lot of those teams have been very aggressive this offseason. So is Seattle, though. So do you think that they need to go out and trade for a wide receiver? 1 for yes, or I want you to type 0 for no. In terms of a trade, you always need to be thinking about draft capital. They don't have a first-round pick due to the Jamal Adams trade. They also lost, I believe it's another 4th-round pick into a trade that they made this past draft. So they got a 2nd-rounder, a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, and then a 6th and a 7th. So if they want to go out and get creative, they don't have a first-round pick. However, they do have some other draft picks going on here. So that's something I wanted to be able to bring up, because if you're going to give up one of these picks, guess what? You better get something useful here. So what I have here on today's show, 5 wide receivers the Seattle Seahawks could go out and trade for. And I'm not ranking these in any order, but let's be real. The first guy that I'm about to bring up here, he's head and shoulders better than anybody else. Also, not a sponsor, by the way. First guy coming up here, it's Julio Jones. If he's unhappy, if he wants out of Atlanta, and he thinks that he's going to be out of Atlanta, I'll tell you what, Seattle should at least pick up the phone and see what it's going to cost, because by them going out and making the moves that they did for Jamal Adams last year, or making a lot of the moves they made last season, to me, they were telling me that they're in all-in mode. And if you're in all-in mode right now, right, and you're trying to win now, and you got Russell Wilson who, sure, he sounds like he's happy now, but there were times that he was obviously displeased this offseason. Tell me an offense right now that would be more challenging to stop than DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Julio Jones. I'll wait. I mean, we could sit here for an entire hour. You guys can try to come up with a better 3 wide receiver, trio than that. And maybe Julio's the 2 or 1. All I'm saying is this, good luck trying to defend that. And if Russell has those 3 options, he might actually get a vote to win MVP. So is he worth it? Should Seattle go out and trade for Julio? Y for yes or N for no? I will sit here and say every single NFL team should type their Y for yes. Because if some of the reports out there are true, like Peter King said that, hey, you could probably get Julio for a 2nd-round pick. Sure, all the reports out there right now is that Atlanta's looking for a first-rounder. Well, no shit. Of course they're going to be looking for one. But if there's other reports out there, like, that, hey, you could get him for a 2nd. If I'm Seattle, if I'm a lot of other NFL teams, and all it takes is a 2nd-round pick to go get Julio Jones, heck yeah, I'm typing my Y for yes. Now, some other players that could potentially be traded as well at the wide receiver position. The first guy I'm going to bring up here is Christian Kirk. And the Cardinals, they've been really trying to move on from Kirk for whatever reason. It almost seems like for about an entire year now. He was popping up in trade rumors during the trade deadline. And heck, he was even popping up in trade rumors last draft when they took a guy like Andy Isabella. And now they go out and take Rondell Moore in round 2. And in terms of being a good David Moore replacement, he's not as big as Moore, but he kind of brings that physicality where he can also block. He's a solid route runner. He's not going to burn you with speed, but you know exactly what you're going to get, and sometimes that is what exactly you're looking for in a wide receiver 3. He's only 24 years old, and realistically, I think you could get him pretty cheap. Sure, trading within the division is always a very, very difficult thing to do, but we've seen it before. Maybe we could see it again. Anthony Miller next up here on my list in terms of players that Seattle could go out and trade for. The Bears have been trying to trade Miller for just the longest time. I don't know if they're not happy with him. This was a player when he first came out of Memphis I was really excited about. He just, for whatever reason, can't seem to hang on to the football. They have a lot of drama going on with some of these receivers, and, you got all these extend Allen Robinson, which they 100% should do. But I am pretty interested to see a guy like, Mooney, who just simply beat out Anthony Miller this past year, in my personal opinion. And I talked to our Bears Now host, Harrison Graham. He said, yeah, you can probably get this guy for a 6th-round pick. If I can get somebody who's explosive as Anthony Miller to be able to fit in Seattle's offense, which is really predicated on all right, Russ, buy some time, let some of your athletes get open, because that's what Miller is. He's an athlete. He just needs to be able to hang on to the football. And the fact that he's in his last year of his rookie deal, if you know he's not coming back to Chicago, why not go out and get some extra draft capital? That's all I'm saying. Only 26 years old, 5'11", 199 pounds, 49 catches last year, 485 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm a believer as a wide receiver 3 in terms of overall fit. Obviously, he's not Tyler Lockett, but he's like a Plan B version, I think, of Tyler Lockett. Are you an NFL fan? If you're sitting there saying, you know what, yeah, I consider myself an NFL fan. I like watching football Thursday, Friday. It doesn't matter what day of the week. Then you're in the right place. Why haven't you subscribed? If you're a big-time NFL fan and you want more updates on news and rumors, subscribe to Chat Sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. If you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, well, hey, you can also click that big red button that says subscribe. Next guy coming up here in terms of wide receivers Seattle could go out and trade for, I'm going to go N'Keal Harry. And if you're looking for a David Moore replacement in just terms of size, you have that in Harry. Drafted number 32 overall in the 2019 NFL Draft. Has struggled with some injuries, missed 11 games throughout his first 2 years in the league. But red zone is definitely something that Seattle struggled with last year. I thought they did a pretty good job marching up and down the field. But in certain situations, for whatever reason, they did struggle in key situations in the red zone. Harry hasn't really been able to show that he's a red zone option. Maybe it's because his quarterbacks haven't been that great. But Russell, to me, is a pretty damn good quarterback. At least I think he is. 6'4", 225 pounds. Only 23 years old, out of Arizona State. Maybe he needs to be able to go back out west. I don't know if that's going to be the issue. I really do think it comes down to him being healthy. We got Jack in the background. He's giving me the old Devils. I guess that's where he went to college. I don't know. 33 catches, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns for N'Keal Harry. Another option that I think could be a solid wide receiver 3. For whatever reason, Michael Gallup to me seems like one of the most disrespected receivers in the league. I get that the Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb. I get that the fact that they have Amari Cooper. But Michael Gallup to me is a damn good receiver. And he's been linked to numerous trade rumors. And if you're a team like Seattle and you think that you can go out and get a guy like this, another reason to say absolutely I could do it. So I talked to Tom Downey. He runs our Cowboys show here at Chat Sports. And he said, if you can get him for a 3rd or 4th, that's something that they'd be open to. Seattle has both a 3rd and a 4th round pick. And in terms of being a great fit in the offense, he would be a phenomenal fit. So 843 yards last season. And that's with a little bit of Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci sprinkled in. But the year before that, he's over 1,000 yards. It's so hard to be able to find a receiver under 26 years old, under 25 years old, that has 2 years of over 800 yards. Now, I get it. The Cowboys' defense stinks. Seattle's defense wasn't all that good either. But if you're just telling me, hey, who can I go out and add as another wide receiver 3? I think these 5 names make the most sense. Julio Jones should be the first call you do. I get that it's probably the least likely, but he's the best name on here. Christian Kirk traded in your division, also very difficult. Anthony Miller, N'Keal Harry, Michael Gallup, another all solid options. You can see the ages below, and if you don't like any of these trades that I gave you, hey, you remember, always go down in their comments and let us know maybe another wide receiver that Seattle should go out and trade for.